Hello, welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. My name's Jacob, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Sam Ucko to talk about a Watford win. I know it sounds pretty weird. It would have been 12 games on the bounce without a win if we'd got a defeat yesterday. So thank God we did get the win. And it's been 3 months since our last Premier League win. And if you cast your mind back, that was against Manchester United at Vicarage Road in November. And Sam, another stat. 440 minutes since our last Premier League goal. Have you celebrated a goal like that for a lot? Like, obviously, realistically, it's been a long time since we last scored a goal. But when Dennis scored yesterday, I can't remember the last time I celebrated like that. It was just pure relief. It was almost a little bit of anger, frustration, joy, excitement. But it was all mixed, wasn't it, when it went in? And I mean, the limbs in the Watford and yesterday when that went in, unreal.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, it's first of all, apologies about my voice. I've sort of lost it following yesterday's game. As you said to me before, we'll pretty much do this stream up until I sound like Sean Dyche fully. So. Look, I think in terms of an away goal, it was absolutely perfect, up by the Watford fans. It almost happened in slow motion, I thought, when Sarr sort of slowed down, stopped, looked up, found Dennis perfectly. And absolute carnage. Really good day out yesterday. Brilliant day, and still buzzing from it. It just makes, if you look at our streams following the last few defeats, such as the Norwich game, compared to now, the difference between a win and a loss is just, it's so different. So, yeah, it's brilliant feeling.
Mate, absolutely. And I think that's another point I was going to add in terms of the fans. The commitment shown over this season when it's been really tricky at times, to travel to games, and obviously we're still COVID's still going on, and we haven't been doing great this season. Yeah, it was a packed out away end at Villa yesterday. The atmosphere was really, really good. And actually, I think when that goal went in, Sam, there was still about a quarter of the game left to play, and I did get the impression that we got the team over the line. It also kind of marriage with a bit of really good game management from Hodgson and the team. I know you mentioned that on Twitter. What particularly did you like about the way we managed the game? Because I think that's been one of the big criticisms I've had of this season, and with this Watford team, is the way we've gone about games, particularly when we've gone ahead as well.
Yeah, I think there are two moments that I sort of want to highlight. Was that there was a chance where Josh King perhaps could have run through the middle, but he ran to the corner instead, right in front of the Watford fans, and was able to keep it there for about 30 seconds to a minute, which I thought was brilliant. My voice is actually going. This is awful.
Do you know what? I've just seen a comment from Shane D. Sean Dyche from Birmingham. Phenomenal.
And the other one as well. I know I hate it when it's against Watford, but there was sort of a moment where we had about 4 or 5 players rolling on the floor with cramp or injuries, calling over the physios, and that sort of took up a couple of minutes. But I thought it was Ben Foster doing his time wasting. I thought we managed the game brilliantly yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. As Ian says, haven't celebrated a goal like that for 440 minutes. Absolutely bang on, Ian. Charlotte, great to see in the comments. Great to see everyone smiling again after yesterday's result. We'll talk about that goal as well, Charlotte, and how it kind of materialised. And there's a few shout-outs for some players yesterday, even Rudy in the comment section. Great to see you, mate. Craig Cathcart was excellent. Absolutely. Really, really, really good performance from Craig. Look, Sam, I think we'll go chronological. Actually, you know what? Just on the top, just on the win, actually, before we get into how it kind of panned out. Are you seeing this as an unexpected win in terms of maybe not, obviously in terms of form, it is unexpected, but were you before the game targeting Villa as one that we could get a win at? Or are you still surprised that we managed to get a win against, Steven Gerrard Villa side, who have brought in some really good players in the transfer window with Coutinho, Dean, adding to the likes of, Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings, Buendia, the list goes on, Martinez. They've got a good squad there. So are you seeing this as an unexpected win? And did you predict it beforehand?
No, I think it's fair to say I wasn't the only Watford fan who's been sort of really pessimistic over the last couple of weeks. I think I said it off to Brighton that I'm not going to go into any game this season with any expectation or pick anything up, because ultimately we left that Norwich game thinking we should have got a win. We got absolutely battered. Could have won at Burnley, could have won at Newcastle. And I thought those are sort of the key games. And anything else really was going to be a bonus. But I was surprised with winning yesterday, yes. And I was surprised with the performance as well, because I thought, I've criticised Roy Hodgson so far. I thought he absolutely nailed it yesterday, the game plan. I said at half time, or it was after about 60 minutes after Sissoko missed that chance, I said, if we lose this, it's on the players, not Roy Hodgson, because what more can you do as a manager to set up so defensively solid? You have 2 golden chances in Dennis in the first half, where he cut inside and Martinez saved it, and Sissoko having that chance when he's the wrong goal. Luckily, we did take that one chance, but I thought generally Hodgson set up the game really well. The team was perfect, and I thought the game management, as we've spoken about already, was really good as well. So unexpected, but I thought thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, agree. We'll touch on, you just mentioned Roy Hodgson there, and I agree. I thought he set up the team really well. And I think there was a couple of changes that really did make the difference. In terms of the lineup yesterday, we switched back to the 4-3-3, as you know. Foster in goal, the back four, Kiko, Cathcart, Samir, Kamara, a midfield 3 of Louza sitting, Sissoko cleverly, and then a front 3 of Emmanuel Dennis, Josh King, and Ismaila Sarr. Now, the 2 changes that were made, Imran Louza came in for Uri Kutska, and Emmanuel Dennis. And Ismaila Sarr went into the front 3 as well. For me, Sam, that is probably our best formation. I think probably on the whole, it's probably the best team we have at the minute. But the two, were there any key performers that particularly stood out from you yesterday? Because, Rudy mentioned in the comment section there about Craig Cathcart, who I thought was really good. Maybe touching on Imran Louza, Sarr, who particularly caught your eye that you wanted to give a mention today?
There are so many names that I think could be mentioned. I think Craig Cathcart was absolutely superb yesterday. One of probably his best performances of the season. Looked so solid throughout. Danny Ings had that chance in the first half, but aside from that, Cathcart, had him in his back pocket. His, organisational skills were brilliant and had everyone sort of, in an organised shape throughout the game. I think that's his improved performances are down to Ben Foster coming back into goal as well. I tweeted earlier that I've been a Ben Foster critic massively, but at the same time, I think he offers this team a sense of confidence, experience, and really settles things down at the back. So I think it's good to see Ben Foster turning it around in the last few weeks. Who else was good? Hassan Kamara, brilliant again. Just on Hassan Kamara, we have to show it, don't we?
Yeah, get it out, Sam. I completely forgot Sam. Unbelievable. So Sam pre-match, I bumped into him and he had an Ivory Coast flag, and obviously Hassan Kamara is from the Ivory Coast. Goes up to the hoardings at full time with his flag, and look at that. That is phenomenal.
It smells incredible. I'll just say that.
I think, unbelievable.
I just seen just now a comment as well on Christian Cabaselli. Brilliant to see him back as well. It's been a long layoff for him, a few months since we last saw Cabaselli. So good to see him, and particularly with the good stuff he was doing this week with women of Watford. So great to see Cabaselli back in there. But I think Imran Louza and Ismaila Sarr just bring that extra dynamic to this Watford side, that extra step up in quality. They're 2 Premier League quality players. Ismaila Sarr, you can argue, is close to being Champions League level, I think, and that's why certain teams are interested in him and are linked with him in the summer. But I think those 2 just offer us that extra, step up, and I think those 2 really were the standouts.
Sure. Charlotte in the comments says, just having Sarr back in the side gave us a confidence boost. The players looked like believed in something again. That's one player I wanted to touch on, Sam, because, not to say it's been split on social media on Ismaila Sarr, but I think some people are kind of evaluating how much impact they think he has on the team. Now, I'm definitely of the Sarr side of, we have to, obviously, I think everyone knows we have to play him, but I think when he's in the team, you cannot underestimate the impact he has in terms of pinning opposition fullbacks back, in terms of the way he runs at defence, in terms of his final product as well. But the one part that I do agree with fans who maybe think he could do more is I do feel sometimes, and it happened yesterday, and is that sometimes he can drift in and out of games. Now, often that's very difficult for a player in the final third, in the system that we're playing in, to be involved all the time, because clearly he's been told by Hodgson, when we haven't got the ball, you've got to really tuck in. Don't let Luca Dean bomb forward. You've got to be really disciplined off the ball. But sometimes I do find with Sarr, and it happened with Dennis, who's really good as well yesterday, that they, because of the role they're playing, maybe that they find themselves kind of drifting in and out of games. Do you think that's fair? And would you say that? Are you on the more of the side of that Sarr? I think the way you worded it on Twitter was like he's just completely different gravy. But do you see what I'm trying to say in terms of like maybe the system that he's playing in sometimes limits him a bit and he kind of drifts out of games? Don't know whether that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, but I think at the same time that can be to Watford's benefit as well, because one is you almost have at times defenders sort of forget about him because he started the game and bang, that electric pace can bring him back in. But I think also at times we see teams sort of putting 2 or 3 men on him, particularly before his injury. And I think we saw that yesterday. The good thing about that is it opens up so much more space for other players. So if you look at Dennis's chance in the first half, people always forget about Dennis because they're worried about Sarr running with the ball. I think yesterday the defenders perhaps took their eye off Dennis when he won that header in the box for the goal because they were worried about what Sarr's doing with the ball. I think one thing I've been impressed with this season is his end product has improved massively from the Championship last season. I was often a critic of him when he slowed the ball down too much, I thought, and he did that yesterday with the goal. He almost stopped the ball. And I think it was Luca Dean just didn't close him down. And I was thinking, oh, here we go again, slowing the ball down too much, and bang, that one bit of, that one bit of quality, which you really need in a relegation scrap. And he's almost like going to be our, I know we've had Dennis had a brilliant season, Louza's massive, but I don't know if this makes sense, but you look at Burnley have Weghorst, Newcastle have St Maximin. Who else is down there with us?
Everton.
Yeah,
you got the likes of Everton, Brentford. I think could get dragged into it. So there's, I get what you're saying, mate. Like,
I think every team sort of needs that one player. Norwich have. I'm trying to think. Perhaps Timu Pukki. I don't know. But every team's got that sort of one player that you have to rely on to sort of turn it on at that point. And I think that player for us is Ismaila Sarr.
Yeah, for sure. I think just going back onto the front three, Sam, one thing that I took away from the way Hodgson set up yesterday, which you were very, which you praised, and I agree with you, is I think the great thing about the 4-3-3 that we set up in, it basically allows us to play on the counter attack more effectively, I guess, and also it uses our width, which I think, people have been critical about this Watford squad and how it's unbalanced, and we've had this discussion before about the recruitment side of things. But one thing you cannot deny is our quality in wide areas. You look at Sarr on the right-hand side, you've got Dennis on the left-hand side. I'd even argue Josh King isn't an out-and-out number 9. I think he's probably better playing off a little bit wider.
Really good game from him.
Mate, 100%. And this is what I think as what fans we wanted to see is that 4-3-3, because it was effective in the Championship, yes, but Hodgson gives us a bit more stability, I guess, in defensive areas, but it does rely on the front three to create and be creative. So would you say that is the way we have to go forward with the formation in terms of the 4-3-3? And do you think that's playing to our greatest strength? Because I think that's the best formation for us, to be honest.
Definitely. I think that my problem with setting up so defensively, like we did against Brighton, was A, you're trying to defend with a team who don't have the best track record with defending, albeit yesterday we were very good, and B, you're limiting the attack, which is our strongest asset. Sure. I think at times with this Watford side, the best form of a defence is attack, or playing on the counter-attack like yesterday. I think it certainly is the way forward. I think with the group of players we got, certainly the best way, and I don't really want to be seeing the 4-4-2 again like we saw against Brighton. So,
just put the 4-4-2 in the bin. Yeah. Whoever, Ray, if you're watching, don't let it come back. Sam, you mentioned Ismaila Sarr. One player I wanted to touch on and give a big shout. You mentioned Kamara, Craig Cathcart. One player that I thought made the absolute difference, and I've since he came into the club, I think I even said at the start of the season that I thought he'd be player of the season. He probably hasn't played as consistently as he would have liked, obviously with injuries and a managerial change and obviously AFCON. But Imran Louza, when he came in yesterday, I just thought he made such a difference to the midfield. We looked like we had more composure and confidence on the ball. We were retaining the ball better. He was breaking up play. And personally, Sam, the one thing that I would say about Louza is I actually think he's wasted in that deep-lying role in terms of, I think as you saw with the goal, his decision-making in the final third and in that second and in the other half is so good and probably the best we have in midfield that we need to get him to get in those positions, because ultimately we'll come on to the goal, but it was his decision making to look up. You see how many times he scans around. He plays it over to Sarr on his weaker foot. It's a lovely ball. Sarr doesn't have to break stride, but it's that bit of quality, isn't it, in the final third that made the difference. But what did you make of the impact Louza had on the overall team performance yesterday? Because I know we're both big fans of him, but how do you see it from your view?
Massive. He keeps things ticking over in the middle. I almost think, it's not a WD match reaction without mention of Etienne Capoue, but what I like about him in that holding role is it's almost like Capoue in terms of the way he keeps things ticking over. All right, he doesn't perhaps have the defensive abilities of Capoue, but I don't think there's anyone who's fit at the moment who can do as good of a role in there. I like Edu Kiyembe. I don't think he's that player who can play in that role in the Premier League. Perhaps when Peter Otebu's back, we could put him in there. But I think in terms of the players we've got available to us, I think he's the best one who can play in that holding role. And, yes, perhaps he is better further forward. He plays further forward, I think, for Morocco, for the national team. But I think, at the back, in front of the defence, he can pick up the ball and set us straight on the attack, and he's perfect for counter-attacking situations.
Yeah, agreed. He's, as Rudy says, he did well in the midfield. Callum says the midfield three yesterday were exceptional. Seeing them all with such tenacity and desire to die for the 3 points was so refreshing. Absolutely agree with that. And as Noah said, bodies on the line from the first minute to the last minute. That was one thing that really impressed me yesterday. There was what I wanted to mention, Sam. There was someone in the comment section about kind of not getting ahead of ourselves with this win. And we'll get onto it a little bit later, but did it feel significant yesterday? Are you getting carried away? Are you one of those Watford fans that actually like, no, let's calm it down? There's a long way to go. As Roy actually said, I was listening to 5 Live on the drive back from Villa Park, and he said, look, it's a great win today. We celebrate it today. We celebrate it tomorrow, but the job's not done. We're on 18 points. We've got a long way to go and a lot of work still to do. So is it just a case of us as Watford fans kind of just taking a breath, enjoying the win, and then refocusing it against Palace and the fact we still do have, we do need to get a few more points on the board to actually secure safety, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, the nature of football is you have to enjoy days like yesterday because it's the perfect sort of away game, massive win, absolute carnage. It's exactly what you want. Look, at the same time, I don't think it will change too much in the in the grand scheme of our season. I think we've probably left it too little too late. Not necessarily in terms of performances, but, we bring in the likes of Hassan Kamara, who has a massive impact, but we don't for half the season.
Very true.
I think we've left it too little too late. And as Shane says in the comments there, if we don't win on Wednesday, which perhaps I don't think we will, I think we'll get a draw. I don't think it means much, to be honest. So, look, I'll enjoy it because that's the nature of football. I think you can tell from my throat I enjoyed it, but I don't think it will change too much in the grand scheme of things.
As Nathan says in the comment section, Ucko loves the Orns. Absolutely phenomenal. The Ucko fan club is in the comment section. That's really interesting. We'll get into Watford's running. I know it's been a little bit of a delay on some of the videos here on WD18. I do really apologise. Myself and Sam have been really busy at the moment, but we're trying to get back into it. We haven't just returned because obviously it makes it a bit easier to do these videos. But we'll talk about the running and the games that were before the Villa game and in terms of the complexion of the rest of the season. Another thing to mention, Shane couldn't make it today. He's got COVID at the minute, which is a real shame. We wish Shane a speedy recovery. So if you've got a moment, give Shane a message on Twitter and send some love over to him. I know he's got a little bit of a cold at the minute with COVID. So speedy recovery to Shane, and hopefully he'll be back on the match reactions soon. And Sam, look, going back onto yesterday, one thing that Hodgson mentioned was how the balance between the defence and attack was better. Do you think that was down to Villa being poor or us putting in a really good performance? Because I saw, again, look, Sam, I've got the notifications on, mate. Don't you worry. I read your tweets regularly. I saw your tweet again about basically saying that you weren't impressed with Aston Villa. You weren't impressed with the way Gerrard's team played. But then I also saw some replies. I think Roy Moore actually mentioned how he thought that Watford actually caused them to play poorly. So now you've heard the other side of it. Are you seeing it as more of a really good Watford performance or more of a poor Villa performance, if that makes sense?
I think, look, I completely accept Roy's point. And I think it's I think certainly it's sort of in the middle, I think, in terms of elements of Villa playing badly and Watford playing really well and limiting them. Look, I think on paper, Villa should be beating us. They got Coutinho, bought an Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings, etc. But what I more meant by that was, I was hearing such good things about Steven Gerrard as a manager. The way that Gerrard sets up his job at Rangers was brilliant, and sort of his pool, his recruitment that he's been able to get in at Aston Villa so far, and I just expected a little bit more from them. But I certainly do agree with Roy regarding the fact that we certainly limited them with that.
Yeah, agreed. And I do agree with Roy in terms of the balance. One thing he did mention as well in his post-match comments after the game was he still felt, and he wasn't scathing over the top, but he was critical of the front line against Brighton. He felt that, I've been told that these are really good players. I think he's basically been told by Gino, Scott, and Cristiano that these are good attacking players, and you need to do more with them. And he basically said after the Brighton game that I've heard these are great attacking players, yet I haven't seen anything from them. My argument would be, yeah, they need to be doing more, but I guess it was quite difficult in the way we did set up in that first half against Brighton for anyone, let alone the three attacks we had, the two strikes we had on the pitch to do anything. But he still wants more, Sam, which is interesting because I felt that yesterday was better. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a finished article by any stretch, but we did have chances, didn't we? You look at particularly in the second half. I mean, the one that was just absolutely painstakingly frustrating was that Sissoko one. I mean, I know he's not part of the front three, but he's just got to square it. We're screaming, Louza, just square the ball. In his peripheral vision, he must have seen Dennis. This is what I just can't get my head around, Sam.
It's annoying as well because I thought it was in the way it hit the side netting and sort of brushed past Martinez. We need to add a clause into Sissoko's contract that he's not allowed to shoot. It's I love Louza because I think he's dropped off in the last few games. So he was good yesterday, but he dropped off before that. But at the really low points in the season, I think he's been sort of the bright light in the side, the one who's really been carrying that midfield. Could see him, sort of towards back to his best yesterday, but as an experienced player, I think we have to expect him to be squaring that and looking up. As someone said there, I think he's probably so desperate to score that he just had his head down. But this is where I said yesterday, I don't think I would have blamed Roy if we had gone and lost 1-0 because, what more can he do when we set up like that with two golden chances and we missed both of them. Luckily, Dennis and Sarr were there to bail us out. But yeah, we have to be taking those chances.
Yeah, absolutely. And mentioning the chances, Sam, in terms of XG, which, you could read into how much you want, but obviously we saw the context of the game. In terms of the chances created, Watford had 1.6. I think it was to Villa's 1.3. So he did edge it out, actually, in terms of chances created. You look in the first half when that lovely counter-attack with that swoopy ball out to side, played it through to Dennis. And it reminded me a little bit of, do you remember Igalo against Everton in the first game back in the Premier League? And he Jagielka said, John Stones said, yeah, it did, didn't it? It was like poetry in motion watching that. And I saw another shout for, we sometimes as Watford fans, we have terms for players, so you've got the Igalo scoop, etc. Someone said the Imran Louza body feint. I don't know if you saw it yesterday.
That's amazing.
The Imran Louza body feint where he goes like that and he's looking up and he's just like.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
If you're going to go top three, Sam, Igalo scoop, have we got any other trademark? Deeney penalty, obviously, down the middle.
The Capu ping for me, the Capu ping has to be up there. The Jose Holebas yellow card, that has to be another one.
And the Aurelio Gomez long throw instead of goal kicks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I remember there was one point we were chasing a game in our first year back in the Premier League. I think we were 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go. And we just see Gomez just absolutely chuck it across the pitch. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian in the comment section, next time you get your board out, can you explain XG? So Ian, XG is basically expected goals, and expected goals is based on the chances you create in the game. So based on the chances Watford created, they're expected to score 1.6 goals compared to Villa's, which is 1.3. So overall, Watford had better chances than Villa on XG.
Yeah, I was just having a look for a book down there that I read called The XG Philosophy. I highly recommend it. It's a really good read, and I think XG's come under a lot of scrutiny. I think there's a video on YouTube if you have a look on Gillette Soccer Special on Saturdays, and I think might have been Paul Merson and Jeff Stelling really going in on XG, saying how it's a useless stat, etc. I think it's a really useful stat, and I think it's basically based on how many players are around you, how far out you are. I think it might be the quality of the pass to you, and it all sort of accumulates to create this percentage or this decimal about how good the chance is, and then you average it out at the end of the game and see how good your chances were. So
it's really, I think, particularly, sometimes, as you say, in the context of some games, it probably doesn't, it's not as useful. But particularly, I thought yesterday, in terms of Watford had 40% possession to Villa's 60, yet we created the better chances, and we were getting in really good areas. I think it was the first time under Hodgson where I actually felt that we could have scored more than one, or we actually scored, to be honest. But it felt like, from your perspective, did you see like the quality of chances we were creating? We mentioned that Dennis won, Sissoko, Dennis's header, of course. King should have really scored at the end.
Yeah,
I think 4 good chances we had yesterday.
Four chances that we should be scoring, all 4. I think perhaps the King one's a bit more difficult because he's coming in on it, and it's not really a chance to direct the ball. It's just getting a touch on it. But I think it's my only criticism of yesterday is we should have scored 4 goals. We should have won 4-0, 4-1, whatever.
Sure.
Because Danny Ings should have scored as well in the first half of Villa. But again, as I said, because we won the XG yesterday, I think, if we had lost that game yesterday, I think Roy Hodgson would have been fully within his right to say, what more can I do? I set up, we create good chances and the strikers aren't putting them away. And that's where we need to be seeing more from them. And that's where I agree with him, because, we should be scoring more goals.
Absolutely. Caroline with a great stat. Villa had 20 attempts, but only 1 on target. Unbelievable. And I guess the one thing to mention about, I think it was the Ings one, they hit the post. I think that was offside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was tight. I think that was offside, but obviously he had the chance previously as well. Sam, we went on a bit of a tangent there, but I just wanted to give a bit of time to just going through the goal, actually. What was, how it was actually a lovely goal. I mean, at the time, sometimes, I don't know if you find this, Sam, where you're at the game, you're in the away end, you're having a great time, you've consumed a bit of alcohol, you kind of don't appreciate how good the goal is at the time sometimes. I watched it back on Match of the Day. The pass from Louza, as I mentioned, the composure to ping it over to Sarr, Kiko's overlapping run, Sarr's delivery, and Dennis's header. I mean, as team goals go, I don't think we've had much better this season.
Yeah, I think the one that I compare it to is, I don't know if you remember earlier in the season, we won 3-1 at Carrow Road. Feels like a long time ago, that now. Dennis scored a header in that game as well from a Kiko Femenia ball in. They were 2 very similar goals if you have a look at them. In terms of a team goal, we've spoken about how good Louza is already. We've spoken about Sarr's quality and Dennis's finishing ability we've seen this season. That's what you need from when you're down at the bottom. You need your players on their A game, or a bit of luck as well with the poor defending from Villa, and able to sort of bring out those moments of quality, the switch of play, the ball into the box, the header. And that's what we need to be seeing more of every single game from now on if we are going to get anything and stay in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. As Nick says, this was kind of the bit that kind of went under the radar, was Kiko's overlap, which created the half yard for Sarr to deliver. Dean just took that little step to his left. Sarr with, it was the similar technique it reminded me of to Delafeu's chip against Wolves, Sam. That kind of like no backlift on the strike, lovely loop over, and Dennis didn't even have to break stride. Obviously, he wanted it more than Ashley Young in terms of he was no way he wasn't going to win that ball. But like the way Dennis barely actually had to jump in the end, because it kind of dipped onto his head, and it's absolutely. I think Shearer mentioned it on Match of the Day. It's a dream delivery, and that is what we miss, isn't it, this season? And I feel with Sarr in the team, Sam. And I know you said that you don't think it will change the course of our season, and there's still a long way to go. But with him back in the side, it does give you hope, doesn't it? Because he's just that quality that I don't think teams in the bottom half have compared to us. He's a match winner, especially yesterday.
Definitely, and I mentioned in terms of, I went through a bit, the teams down the bottom have those perhaps match winners. I think probably us and Newcastle have the best two in Alan St. Maximin and Ismaila Sarr. It's quite interesting because I remember when we were linked with Sarr, I think it was either between Sarr or St Maximin that we were going to get, or something like that. But he's a quality footballer, and I think it's beyond me why some fans don't rate him. We spoke about it at the start of the show, and I get the argument, all right, he drifts out of games and sometimes goes missing a bit. But I think that's because of the way the team's set up to stop him. It's a compliment towards him more than anything else. So, look, we need that quality down there, and we need that match fixing. We need that match winner.
Hold on, mate. Jesus.
We need that match winner. So, apologies about that.
Unbelievable. Superb. Funnily enough, that was Dennis's 9th goal of the season. We mentioned it, didn't we, Sam, about kind of like the criticism the recruitment has got at times. But one thing's for certain, that is an unbelievable signing. I think, was it 3-4 million for Dennis? I mean, his output has just been phenomenal. And yes, he had a bit of a flat period, didn't he? People were linking it to whether he didn't go to AFCON and not getting to play for Nigeria, and we kind of cleared up that situation, that it was his call in the end. But ultimately, I think that for him is so huge. I hope, anyway, I'm hoping, this is very much hypothetical, but I just think he needed that goal, didn't he? He just needed a goal to kind of stop that noise behind that, people saying he's not been the same since AFCON, his head's away at another club, or he wants to move in the summer. The fact of the matter is that goal, confidence-wise, that will do him the world of good. Actually, one person I wanted to ask you about, Sam, was Josh King yesterday, because again, I'm seeing him. I again liken it to the not as split as the Deeney situation, but I've seen a lot of people saying, I don't see what King offers. Is he offering enough? Is he leading the line well? And then I'm seeing other people protecting him, saying, look, he's doing the best he can in the formation that he's playing in, the way we're trying to play. He's feeding off scraps a lot of the time. Yeah. Where do you fit in on that argument in terms of the critics and the people that are backing him?
I think the bottom line is he has to be scoring more goals. I don't think it's 5 goals this season across 3 games, because one of them was a hat-trick. Also, one of them was a penalty, and the other one was against Man United. So, it was 3 really good games from him, those ones. But he has to be scoring more. But at the same time, I think what he brings to this team yesterday, he was almost like that, dropping deeper, being that focal point for the counter-attack, where you have sort of, I know Josh King is quick, but you have Sarr on one side, Dennis on the other, Kamara and Kiko overlapping. And he can be that player to sort of hold it up and wait for the runners and then ping it out wide. And he did that a couple of times yesterday really well. I think it was it Josh King yesterday before the Sissoko chance? He was able to feed it through. So that's what Josh King can do. But I agree. I can see why he splits opinion. And I do want to be seeing more from him. But I really like him. And I think he still has to be starting games.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with
that. Particularly in the counter-attacking setup as well. I think he's important.
Sure. I completely agree with you, mate. And as Will says in the comment section, he does have his critics, but King was superb yesterday. His hold-up play and through-ball ability complements Sarr and Dennis so well. And as Sam mentioned, that ball in the second half to Sissoko, which we should have really converted. Lovely weight of pass. Sissoko barely had to break stride. And yeah, as I said, that could have he should have finished. I was just thinking of that chance and how what was really funny about that chance, Sam, was when he took the shot. I couldn't believe he didn't square it, but then he turned around at the away end, was like that, and looked at us. We were looking at him like, Sissoko, what are you doing? Oh my god!
It was almost like an apology, I think, from him. We've spoken about Louza already. It's just he has to be scoring now. It's a nightmare.
Have you seen? Sorry, last thing on Sissoko, who I thought grew into the game yesterday. In fairness to him, I thought first half he struggled. Still don't know what his best position is, to be honest with you. I'm still really. I've seen him in a deeper role. We've seen him in a bit further forward, Sam, as a box to box, as a bit of a destroyer. He kind of he does. He's got ability. It's there, isn't it, with Sissoko? It is there, but. Yeah. And he gets in great positions. He's such a powerful runner. He's intelligent with his positioning at times, but it's just his decision making. I find a lot of the time you're like, come on, Musa, you've got to do better in those situations, particularly as an experienced player, right?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It's a really frustrating one with him because, as an experienced player, you'd be expecting him to square that, look up, take a moment, and that's what we brought him in for. But I want to be seeing more from Musa at the moment as well. I think there's been a small drop-off from him, not massive, but I think there's been a small drop-off, and we need to be seeing more from Sissoko, particularly, in the midfield when we're chasing the ball, and his positional sense, I think, needs to be a bit better as well.
Yeah, sure. Just before we move on, look ahead to Palace on Wednesday. Just a few comments on King. Nick says JP or King, Sam? Tough one.
What offers different things.
In the 4-3-3. In the 4-3-3, let's say.
I think for now, Josh King, because I prefer Pedro off the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Palace says the pass to Sissoko was brilliant from King, but for me, he's not doing it enough not to play 90 every week. Shane believes the jury's out on Josh King. Louis says he needs better service. Lee thinks King is not a Prem quality player, EFL at best. King was King. Look, it's amazing. It's really split. Sam.
Really split. Really interesting. I've never. Do you know what? I was just thinking just now. I don't think I can remember a player who split opinion so much as at Watford. I mean, Troy, all right, split opinion, but towards the end, very much so. Perhaps you could argue the goalkeepers all split opinion between people, particularly Ben Foster. But this is really interesting because there are some fans who don't want King anywhere near the side, yet some fans saying he's the first name on the team sheet. So it's interesting, but we need to be seeing more goals from him.
Yeah, agreed. The output has to improve if we want to stay up. And then, as Pete says in the comments, the battle of the Vic, Cleverley versus Hughes. And that leads nicely on. Thank you very much, Pete, for the segue onto Wednesday night, which is turning out to be a huge game for Watford. A win, Sam, and it blows the relegation battle wide open, and especially with results over the weekend. In terms of where we're sitting in the Premier League table, at one point yesterday, we were actually bottom of the league, but with the win, it puts us up to 18th. We're on 18 points, so we're averaging averaging a point a game. No, we're not. We've played 24 games. We've got 18 points, 5 wins, 3 draws, 16 defeats, with a goal difference of -19. It doesn't read brilliantly, but we're still in for a chance. We're still in with a chance, Sam. We're sitting 4 points behind Newcastle, who have played the same amount of games and are on 22 points. Everton have a game in hand, but they're on 22 points. Leeds have played the same games, now on 23. And Brentford, who have played 2 more games than us, are on 24. And if Watford win their 2 games in hand, which is a big if, they would be on the same points as Brentford. So we mentioned about how we're still not confident that we will stay up. And, we're not ruling it out by any stretch. But I do agree with you that it's, I think I tweeted that if we do stay up, give Roy Hodgson a knighthood if he does achieve it. But we're not out of it. We've still got a chance. Now, looking at Palace, is that the game that you're looking at now, Sam, and thinking we have to win? It's a must win. If we don't win, will it feel like a missed opportunity to you?
Yeah, massively. I think with Crystal Palace, it's very much a team like we've seen with Villa, like Everton. You don't know what you're going to get from them. 1 week they could be absolutely brilliant. The next, they could be really poor. So, we know about their threats going forward. They got Wilfred Zaha, they've got Elise, Eze's back now, Edouard, Will Hughes. It's going to be a really, really tough game, and we can also be relying on them having an off day a bit as well. But I think it's massive, and we have to get the 3 points if we are going to stay up.
It's a huge period. I mean, I'm just looking at the table.
We're running out of games, and this is one of the few winnable games we've got left. And all right, if this was earlier in the season, if this was 2-3 months ago, I'd have said I'd take a point, but we have to take 3 points now.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. 14 games left for this season, and in terms of who we've got to play, we kind of felt we needed to maybe get something from Brighton. Maybe a point at West Ham would have been difficult. I mean, the Norwich game, obviously. Burnley, not a bad point in the circumstances. But in terms of teams we still have to play, Sam, we've got to play Palace twice, Southampton away. I'm just looking at some of the teams in that kind of bottom half area. Everton at home, Leeds at home, Brentford at home, Burnley at home, Leicester, obviously, in the top half. But how many points do you think we need to stay up? Because I think we need 36.
It's really difficult. I think 36 would do it. Maybe 35 would do it as well. It very much depends. I think Newcastle got a point yesterday, but I think they're going to massively miss Kieran Trippier, who is supposedly out for the season now. Massive blow for them. I think probably 5 wins. We need at least a few draws.
5 wins and a couple of draws.
Yeah, 5 wins and a couple of draws, I think. And I think it's, as I said, it's too much of a task now. I think it's too little, too late. And I think we'll be looking back at, games like Tottenham where we conceded in the last minute, or Norwich at home where we don't turn up and we're thinking we should have turned up there.
Yeah, I'm praying. I've got both fingers crossed. I've got my toes crossed. Got everything crossed that we can stay up in this division. But I'm just hoping it's not a repeat of that Kike season where we brought Kike back for 12 games. We did the same with Ranieri, and that period. I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, but can you just imagine? Let's just say, if Hodgson was brought in earlier, we might have had a better chance. But it's just frustrating because it is frustrating because it's out of our hands a little bit now. We can only do so much. But I do think, Sam, the only thing I would say, and just to give us a bit of hope, I do think there's some winnable games there.
Yeah.
Shane in the comment section I still think we'll produce a shock win. Games against Leeds and Brentford will be massive. Absolutely agree with that, Shane. And I do think there's going to be some slip-ups. As we mentioned, Everton are on the slide. Brentford are on the slide. Norwich they're struggling. They've struggled since their win against us. Burnley have to win need to get some points out of their games in hand. Leeds are getting dragged into it. Even if, it's a complete long shot, I don't think they will go down. But let's just say we do beat Palace on Wednesday night. We're then only 5 points behind them with the game in hand. So all I would say is, and I'm not saying that we'll stay up, and I'm not saying we'll go down. I'm very much sitting on the fence. I've got splinters up my bum. But what I will say is, I don't think it's over. And I think yesterday proved that, yes, it's a flicker of hope. It really is. I might be clutching at straws then. Some people saying, Jake, why do you do it? But, we went 11 games without a win before yesterday. And it was a great win, a much needed win, an unexpected win, I guess you could say. But it's given us a bit of hope. Yeah. And even if we do lose against Palace, at least we've got that win. We've gone away from home at Villa, a tough place to go, a really good team. Some teams have really struggled this season. We managed to get a win. I think that will breed. I'm hoping it will. I can't convincingly say it will, but I'm hoping that it breeds confidence, Sam. That's the only positive thing that I can say at the minute. It's a flicker of hope. Watford, I don't know why Watford do it to us. I've gone on a bit of a ramble, but that's kind of how I'm feeling. Do you not? Is there any part of you that does feel like there's some hope that we can turn it around?
I think there is hope. I think you have to have hope. I think if you look at the application yesterday more than anything else of the game plan, I think Adam Leventhal said on The Athletic that the only criticism of Hodgson is it perhaps takes teams some time to sort of implement his philosophy and start listening to him fully. And I think we are perhaps starting to see a bit more now, them starting to listen to him. All right, against Brighton, we conceded 2 poor goals, but defensively, I think we have looked more sound in all the Hodgson games so far. But I think, they are certainly starting to take it on board a bit more, and that can only give us confidence, I think.
Absolutely. Just to wrap up, some comments in the live chat. Will sums it up brilliantly here. Great win against Villa, but can't get carried away. Obviously, I'm buzzing. We need to carry on this form, especially with seven of our fixtures being against top half teams, which is obviously half of the games we have left. A great comment there from Will. Thanks for watching tonight, mate. Some really confident chat from in the comment section. He says, "Why is it too late? We will stay up." I love the confidence. Absolutely love it. 14 games left, possible 42 points. It is possible. It absolutely is possible. And Shane says, that's the beauty and curse of our situation. We had written our chances off last weekend. A week later, we're roaring with confidence. Shane, that is the beauty of football. Sam, I think Sam, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, that's football. That's what football does, isn't it?
Mate, it just leads you on, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Nightmare.
It's like chatting to a girl who's completely out of your league, and you think you've got a chance, but then you just know, like, after a month of talking to her, that it's only going one direction. I'm never going to speak to them again.
Do you know what? I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all.
You wouldn't change it. Just to finish up, Sam, Sean Ucko, message from Caroline. I hope you feel better soon, Sam. And there's been a few comments about remedy, Sam. Lemon, apparently, it's a singer's charm, getting the lemon out. Have you tried it?
Well, do you know what? I'm thinking sort of what's the point in getting better, considering I'll lose my voice again on Wednesday night against Palace and then again at United on Saturday. So I'm going to rest up for the next couple of days and hopefully get better again and hopefully see everyone down at the Vic on Wednesday.
What Sam? You're an away day fanatic. What were you giving that out of 10 yesterday?
Got to be a 10. Got to be a 10.
10. Is it up there?
Great day out, considering I came from Birmingham as well here. So I was, we did a little pub crawl before the game. Obviously winning 1-0 with a clean sheet. Got Kamara's shirt. Perfect.
Mate, that is an unreal away. Is that going in like top 10, top 5?
Yeah, top 5, I think. Top 5 for me.
Top 5. That is huge. Huge. Just to wrap up, what are we rating that away day out of 10, guys? Let us know in the comment section. Another lemon and honey, Sam. Get on it, mate.
Yeah. Are you going to be at Old Trafford, Jacob?
I'm not at Old Trafford, but I am at Palace on Wednesday. Thank you very much to everyone who said hello yesterday in the away ends. I know it was a great away. It turned out to be a great away day. David, well done, guys. I'm sharing your enthusiasm. You've got to be enthusiastic. Look, people say, I think, Sam, you summed up really well that, it might be too little too late, but we've got to enjoy it, while we're in the Prem, even if we do go down. It might be completely different come Wednesday night that we're going to be thinking, oh, bloody hell, that was just a blip. And that is why I guess Wednesday is so important, because we have to back it up, don't we? But fingers crossed. I'm begging we stay in this division. But it is a big ask. There's no denying it. We've got to take the confidence from yesterday's win. I still think it's unlikely. I still would be surprised if we stayed in the division, but we've got a better chance than we did before Saturday at 3:00. So it's the hope that kills you. Sam, someone said they saw you on telly yesterday.
Yeah. There was a picture on Match of the Day. They zoomed in on the Watford fans, I think, and there was someone spotted me and sent me a couple of pictures on Twitter. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
And we've got, the perfect way to wrap up. Alex King. If Alex will be watching, we've got to give a shout out to Alex.
What a man.
Comes up to full time, goes down to the advertising boards as Sam did, gets his phone ready on the camera, right? Dennis comes over. Did he get the shirt as well?
Yeah, he got Dennis's shirt. Second time. The other time he got Dennis's shirt was Everton away this season, the 5-2. Got 2 Dennis shirts now. Brilliant stuff. Incredible.
Gets the Dennis shirt, gives Emmanuel his phone. Emmanuel takes a selfie with him. I mean, that is just the dream, isn't it? That might be the photo of the season.
Brilliant. So good. Photo of the season. Amazing.
Anyway, Sam, I will let you rest your voice up, mate. You've done fantastically well. Thank you very much for the kind comments. Matthew, really do appreciate that, mate. Some lovely comments in there. And I'm glad to see a lot of Watford fans have got a smile on their face again. We should be back, Sam. We could do maybe one after Palace if you're around.
Yeah, Thursday, or if not, we'll be back on Sunday next week after United.
Sam sums up absolutely perfectly. As a few people said in the comment section, please do leave a like on the stream. Follow myself and Sam. You can see our ats just under our faces. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll always drop us a message. And we'll try and get back to you. Follow us on WD18 at WD18 Fan. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you very, very soon. What a win! Up the Hornets.